She slapped him.
You had absolutely no right to do that.
You do know the repercussions of your actions right now, right?
Is that you give me my phone back.
I'm gonna give you a chance to apologize because I'm about to go crazy. You can apologize right now before I do something.
I will apologize after you give me my phone back.
Okay, so you're not gonna apologize, right? Right?
After you give my
Right?
So she's not gonna apologize.
Right?
Oh my god.
Boom!
Exactly
Snap!
What in the world?
Scorch!
Next is me.
Woman?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. You wanna hit a man? You wanna hit like a man? You wanna hit like a man?
Oh my
You
goodness.
hit bit like a man. Hey, sit down. Sit
Y'all
down.
both can get it.
All right.
No, you had no business accusing my man of stealing.
Exactly.
You had no business doing that.
Yeah, she got what she had coming to her. Sure did.
You might think I'm out of my mind polishing my windshield, but actually it's keeping me from losing my mind from squeaky windshield wipers that make noise when it's raining. I changed the wipers years ago on my wife's Lexus 2 or 3 times, and every couple of weeks they start squeaking again. So my paint and body guy says, Scotty, use this new finish. It's not a wax, it's a polish, and polish the windshield. Just put a little bit of the polish on a nice little towel and buff it out. Check it out.
I would recommend that you get one of those microfiber cloths instead of a paper towel, and then let it dry for a while. Well, first clean the window really well using those microfiber cloths instead of a paper towel. And then when you do that, apply the wax and leave it on for a while. Yeah, let it dry and then wipe it off with a clean microfiber cloth. Works
Here's
wonders.
the polished part. My fingers slide. The non-polished part, they drag. I started polishing them 5 years ago. Not a sound since. And the wiper blades last longer, too.
They sure do. And I'll tell you something else. When it rains, it's like that rainwater that just speeds right off. Boy, it's done. Here's a non-excusable.
Accidentally pit maneuver the wrong suspect.
They
Watch
do that.
this.
Get your hands up! Get your hands up! No, you're running! That's not how it works! Hands up! Hands up!
Okay, if a cop accidentally pit maneuvers you, you're going to jail. He's going to fabricate charges to cover his ass. Yeah, a lot of cops are dirty. What percentage of them? I'd say well over half.
It's precisely what happened yesterday. Again, if you want to say that everyone should just be less sensitive, whatever, anything goes on campus, that's one thing, but that's not what is happening on these college campuses, where sensitivity is extended to everyone except for the Uden. Here was Representative Elise Stefanik of New York questioning the presidents of University of Pennsylvania, Harvard University, and MIT about genocidal language chanted on campus. Listen to these responses. It's a long clip. We're going to stop and start it because there's a lot here.
Dr. Kornbluth, at MIT, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate MIT's code of conduct or rules regarding bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
They've targeted at individuals, not making public statements.
Yes or no? Calling for the genocide of Jews does not constitute bullying and harassment?
I have not heard calling for the genocide for Jews on our campus.
But you've heard chants for intifada.
I've heard chants, which can be anti-Semitic depending on the context, when calling for the elimination of the Jewish
in the context.
people.
So those would not be according to the MIT's code of conduct or rules?
That would be investigated as harassment if pervasive and severe.
Ms. McGill, at Penn, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Penn's rules or code of conduct? Yes or no?
If the speech turns into conduct, it can be harassment, yes.
I am asking specifically calling for the genocide of Jews. Does that constitute bullying or harassment?
If it is directed and severe or pervasive, it is harassment.
So the answer is yes.
It is a context-dependent decision, Congresswoman.
It's a context-dependent decision.
Context.
That's your testimony today. Calling for the genocide of Jews is depending upon the context. That is not bullying or harassment. This is the easiest question to answer yes, Ms. McGill. So is your testimony that you will not answer yes?
If it if the
Yes
speech
or no?
becomes if the speech becomes conduct, It can be harassment, yes.
Conduct meaning committing the act of genocide? The speech is not harassment? This is unacceptable, Ms. McGill. I'm going to give you one more opportunity for the world to see your answer. Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Penn's code of conduct when it comes to bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
It can be harassment.
The answer is yes.
Can be.
And Dr. Gay, at Harvard, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
It can be, depending on the context.
What's the context?
Targeted as an individual, targeted at an individual.
It's targeted at Jewish students, Jewish individuals. Do you understand your testimony is dehumanizing them? Do you understand that dehumanization is part of anti-Semitism? I will ask you one more time. Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
Anti-Semitic rhetoric.
And is it anti-Semitic rhetoric?
Anti-Semitic rhetoric when it crosses into conduct that amounts to bullying, harassment, intimidation, that is actionable conduct, and we do take action.
So the answer is yes, that calling for the genocide of Jews violates Harvard Code of Conduct, correct?
That's not what you said.
Again, it depends on the context.
It does not depend on the context. The answer is yes, and this is why you should resign. These are unacceptable answers across the board.
I mean, they're amazing answers because, again, just substitute the language. Now, we're not talking here whether the First Amendment protects activity. For example, like the KKK marching through Skokie. The First Amendment does protect that activity. We are talking about college campuses, where there are strict speech codes that exist on every one of these college campuses.
Except it is okay to be anti-Semitic. As a Jew, I have some feelings towards this. Yes, I'm biased because I'm Jewish. Okay? And yes, I do hate the Ku Klux Klan. And these answers, anything shy of a yes is a no. That's the reality of it. I don't like it, but that's the way it is.
Lawyer's reaction.
Whenever the police are engaged in a high-speed pursuit, there's always a possibility that an emergency vehicle will crash into an innocent third party. And if that happens, ladies and gentlemen, the police are still not liable under a concept in the law known as qualified immunity.
Okay, that should be reevaluated, but it won't be.
Well, Colorado is about to enact a law which says that if you're under the age of 21, you can no longer purchase a firearm. Clearly, because you don't possess the maturity. However, if you're at least 18, you definitely still possess enough maturity to be drafted by the federal government, sent to a faraway land with a machine gun, shot at, and potentially killed for your country, ostensibly to protect things like the Constitution, your Bill of Rights, which is supposed to protect your right to keep and bear arms. You hear about this father in Southern California that defended himself with a firearm against two armed attackers, but don't worry, the government got the guy. And by the guy, I mean the father that was protecting his family. Yeah, they took away his concealed carry permit because that's what they mean when they say common sense gun control.
This girl's car burned down, but what happened next is even more shocking.
Spills. But what about the milk? It was in a fire yesterday. It still has ice in it.
After she posted that video, it went viral, and the president of Stanley Cups posted this video doing something for her she never could have imagined.
Wow, what an ordeal, and we're all really glad you're safe. Thanks for sharing the video because, wow, it really shows how our Stanleys are built for life. Because what it went through with you, I couldn't think of a better example of our product's quality. But anyway, we're glad you're safe. I've seen a lot of comments that we should send you some Stanleys. Well, we're gonna send you some Stanleys. But there's one more thing. We've never done this before, and we'll probably never do it again, but we'd love to replace your vehicle.
That was really nice of Stanley.
Get in the car! Put your hands up!
Since a car is a deadly weapon, Frank wants the driver isolated from control of the vehicle. Let's go to Carroll, Iowa, and show what can go wrong when the subject is allowed to stay behind the wheel.
Stop the car! Not a big deal. Stop the car! Stop the car! Incredible police body cam and dash cam video just released of a traffic stop in Iowa. A driver refusing to get out of the car and then taking an officer with him on an extreme ride. Put on the brakes! Put on the brakes! Stop the car!
Shoot already!
Pulls alongside the fleeing driver and tries to stop him, but the driver takes off. As the fleeing driver speeds away, the police officer keeps holding on. That fleeing driver sees a freight train.
I'll tell you this, one time I did have a guy run on me after I pulled him over. That was a very dangerous encounter. I did not shoot the guy. Everything came out okay, though, but fact of the matter is, if I had it to do all over again, I would have started shooting the guy. And I was determined to do exactly that after that moment.
Blocking the road ahead and makes a sudden turn to the left, speeding through an industrial yard. The fleeing driver then hits a ditch and the officer on board goes flying to the ground. The pursuing officer stops to check on his colleague, who tells him to keep chasing that fleeing driver. I'm okay, man. Go get him. I'm all right. You good? Go get him. But that officer was not okay. The force of the fall actually breaking a vertebra in the officer's back.
And he probably lost his job over that. The problem is the police don't have support of their managers or their supervisors. So while this is going on, he's got to think of the consequences of his actions with the supervisors and the managers. Police, when you're doing the right thing, when you're doing what you should be doing, you cannot worry about what your supervisor's going to think, because he will not back you up. It's not going to happen. You could get killed over this stuff, and your supervisor won't give a damn.
But watch and listen how Deputy Frank handles a very similar situation.
Get out of the car! Put your hands up!
Step 2 is to separate the suspect from the car in case there are weapons inside. And secondly, never allow the suspect to face you. This allows him to assess his situation, how many cops may be there, what weapons do they have, and possible escape routes.
Someone get hands over here.
Bring him over right now. Go ahead.
Stand, walk to your right. Walk to your right. To your right. To your right. Yes, keep going. To your right. To your right. Keep going. Keep going. Stop. You ready?
Frank's commands to the suspect are clear, and he is communicating with other deputies because this is a team effort.
You ready? Yeah. Walk backwards to the sound of my voice. Walk backwards. Stop. Take 2 steps to your right. Yes. Walk backwards. Straight back. Straight back. Straight back. Straight back. Take him.
Notice how the 2 deputies grab the suspect while one officer is covering the front, since it is unknown at this time if any additional suspects and weapons remain in that car. Now let's go to Wayne County and look at another felony car stop that goes bad.
It all started Tuesday afternoon on the 500 block of Chestnut when officers tried to arrest the wanted felon who wears a tether and was just caught delivering a huge amount of crack cocaine to an undercover officer. Police surround the suspect who sat in this black Dodge Charger.
Hands! Get off! Get out of the car!
We're told the officer sees what's happening and in a heroic act opens the car door to stop the suspect from driving off.
Immediately, the suspect put the car in reverse, slammed into our patrol vehicle. The vehicle became stuck in park, and he began revving the engine, implying that he was giving it gas trying to escape.
Okay, the cop may have been heroic, but wrong. He never should have grabbed that car door of a known felon hidden behind heavily tinted windows.
But the man takes off, trapping the officer between the frame and the door and dragging him about 20 feet before he is violently thrown from the vehicle.
Well, at this point, the car is considered a deadly weapon, and deadly force is justified.
The suspect still doesn't stop. He takes off through the parking lot and down Oak Street with speeds up to 100 miles an hour. Police pursue.
He's about to lose it. He crashed, he wrecked.
The suspect rolls his Dodge Charger several times and slams into a house. Somehow he escapes uninjured and starts running. The officer chases him on foot for about a half a block.
Stop! No, you're gonna get tased!
He did not. The officer tased the bad guy, stopping him in his tracks.
You know, I know it's easy to second-guess critical incidents, but police could have used deadly force, and not because the suspect was trying to escape, but because he was using a several-ton car as a battering ram. The police could have fired at him. Let's finish up with Deputy Frank and watch a textbook felony car stop.
Step out with your hands up. Step out with your hands up. Perfect. Face away from me. Stand just like that. Do not move. Ready? Ma'am, walk to your right. Walk to your right all the way to the fog line. Keep going. Keep going. Stop. Walk directly backwards. Walk directly backwards with your hands up. You're doing absolutely perfect. Thank you so much.
And there's an example of Deputy Frank's cool and calm and collected. I mean, he observes an elderly female, and he understands that he's in control of the situation and doesn't need to intimidate her.
You're doing absolutely perfect.
I will say Deputy Frank has a very good sheriff. He's working for a good sheriff. He's got a good department. He's got some good training, and he's very professional. I did not have the luxury of working for people that were professional. And I really, though, when I was a policeman, I didn't give a damn what my supervisors thought. Because, number one, I'm Jewish, and number two, I hate the Klan a lot. So to hell with my supervisor.
You really gonna get in my face, bro?
How you in my face, bro?
I haven't moved my feet.
I'm not moving my feet.
You feel like I'm harassing? Do you see this?
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
I do.
I think you're being foolish. Why don't you get out of my face? You just walked up to me and put yourself in my face.
Hey, if you can video, I can stand where I want to stand.
Not in my face.
I'm not in your face.
You're not in my face?
I'm not.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
So I did some reading on this because I was actually kind of curious, and I couldn't find any sort of real strict law about invading personal space. So I don't think what this guy is doing is illegal, but it's rude and uncomfortable, and Mr. Amagansett Press has a problem with it, which I find extremely ironic, because that's exactly what he does to people all the time, but when somebody does it to him, suddenly it's an issue. I find that pretty funny. He has no problem ignoring someone's request to not be filmed because it makes him uncomfortable, but when somebody gets in his face and makes him uncomfortable, suddenly they need to listen to his requests?
And this is exactly what we've been saying for years. These frauditors are so hypocritical, it's unbelievable. And it really warms my heart to see a massive YouTuber call out these pieces of shit. The more, the merrier. If you watch some big-time commentary YouTubers, feel free to always send them an email suggesting these type of videos, because honestly, anybody with half a brain can realize that frauditors are the complete Karens of every single situation.
You don't think you're in my face?
No, I'm
You
not.
don't think your camera being 6 inches from my face?
Yours is as close to mine.
Listen, I'm out on the sidewalk taking some pictures.
I'm too.
Go on with your day.
You go on with your day. You go on with your day.
Watch, I'm gonna back up.
Oh, Amagansett Press lost that one. Oh, he pussied out.
Let's see what a puppet you are.
The lack of self-awareness is hilarious because right now, I don't really see a tough guy act. I see somebody doing the exact same thing you're doing to him, to you. I don't really think there's a puppet here. I just don't think you want to be treated the way you're treating everybody around you. Strange.
Call the police. And just so you know, property manager. Yeah, please put me out on social media.
Man, you can call whoever you want.
Sue your
There is only one way to deal with these frauditors, and guys, you have the means of doing it. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. I know how to do it. I've already made up my mind. I mean, yeah, like, doy. But the fact of the matter is, you have the means to do it, and Amagansett Press has given you that leeway to do so. Not intentionally. He doesn't know it, But you take his history, you can do what has to be done. And yes, don't forget about his son Pigpen, because he's got to be dealt with too. Actually, I would, well, I'm not going to tell you how it's going to be done. I hope I never meet these people. I will try to avoid them, but if I can't, I'm ready.
Convicted child offender Jack Reynolds did an interview where they asked him what sort of characteristics he looked for in a child before targeting them. And he said, more important than the characteristics of the child, he looked at the characteristics of the family. The first thing he mentioned was that if he perceived the father to be a threat, he stayed away. Which tells us a few things, dads. One, you better be a threat. But two, you better be present enough in your child's life to where they know you're a threat. And I would say it tells us one more thing that's very interesting. There's a lot of people right now that seem hell-bent to have sexual conversations with our children without our knowledge. Those are the same people telling us that the very things that make you a threat are manifestations of toxic masculinity. So maybe we shouldn't listen to those people.
Well said.
So I gave a floor speech a while back explaining to some of my colleagues how I didn't like them projecting the sins of their political party onto me personally. And they got pretty upset about it. In fact, I had a friend of mine come up and say, well, Nick, I'm not saying that their anger is justified. I'm just saying that it's genuine. I said, oh, okay. I didn't realize that was sufficient. Go back and just notify them that my anger is also genuine, and that should make it okay. Oh, it doesn't make it okay? Okay. Well, then maybe you can explain to them that this is not the sugary cereal aisle in the store, and I am not their mother responding to their temper tantrum. If they would like to explain why they think I'm wrong or incorrect about something, I am more than happy to willing to hear them out, provided they provide something resembling a logical argument with a little bit of evidence. But if they honestly believe that they can just say I'm offended and that's going to shut me up, I don't play that game, sport.